Hello, hello.
What's happening?
Hello, sir. Wow, it looks like, are you just in a perpetual design mode in your new office there? The curtains are new, it looks like.
No, I just have them open a lot.
Got it.
And
Okay.
depending on the brightness, sometimes it affects my camera. So they're not new, but I've got an attic full of curtains because I never throw anything away. And so I've got all these different colors from kids' rooms. And so they may be a different color next time you see them.
We were just talking about this. I'd moved over in the corner. There was a 27-inch Mac, like an integrated Mac, huge screen.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's like 17 years old and it doesn't work anymore. And It weighs 57 pounds. And I just can't bring myself to throw it away. I don't know why. So it gives me an idea to bring it over to your house and put it in your attic with all the other stuff that doesn't get thrown away.
So I do throw things away, but not practical, functional things. My lovely wife is a big fan of purging stuff, extra stuff. And so I'm about to go through my closet again and do the old purge.
How many times a year do you do that?
4. Every quarter I do.
Yeah, quarterly. It's funny. I'm kind of the same. But I swear to God, my daughters go through that every month. And it just seems like their wardrobe only grows. I'm like, what is going on here? It's like gremlins. It's like their clothes are gremlins. They just keep multiplying.
Well, so I've got clothes in multiple closets. So I have, for instance, dress clothes in one place, winter clothes in one place, or whatever's supposed to be the current temperature in my main closet. And so I think they're probably like me when they get their bins out of stuff from the last season. When the temperature changes, they may throw half of it away and get more stuff.
It could be. Or they just keep buying copious amounts of clothing.
Or they keep shopping.
Yeah, there's that. Well, I'm super excited for our guest today. I've known this guy, Craig, shocker, Chicago-based guy.
What?
I know. I'm glad you're sitting down.
It's not
But I've known him for, a long time. And he has a really cool agency. It's a small agency. They focus on storytelling. And so super happy to have George Rafeedie from Tell Your Story.
Welcome to OnAgency, a weekly podcast that explores the various topics that impact marketing and digital agencies. This is a podcast about the business of the business, pulling back the curtain with leading agency minds as they share candid stories of their journeys, from where they started to how they achieved success and what the future holds. OnAgency is hosted by Patrick Rooney, co-founder and chief executive officer of Mahalo Hub, and Craig Fisher, CEO of TalentNet and author of the best-selling book, Hiring Humans.
Hey, man. How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm well. Good to see you. I give Craig grief because the preponderance of guests that we have are Chicago-based. Yeah. And, he likes to nickname this podcast On Chicago.
Yeah. I think that's a good name. I mean, there's a lot of interesting people here in Chicago.
There are. See, Craig? A lot of interesting people in Chicago.
I'm well aware. I'm going to be back in Chicago next month to host a dinner for some customers, and I'm a big fan.
Yeah. So, George, we're thrilled to have you. I've been looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah.
You have an interesting story to tell. I want to just kind of start at the beginning and tell your story. And it's such a cool name. It's very apt. But talk a little bit about Tell Your Story and what you guys do.
Yeah. First, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. And I like to tell my story. So thanks for that first softball question there. We're a boutique story marketing agency. We at the highest level, we work on messaging, and then we develop stories and narratives that then we can amplify throughout kind of the integrated marketing spectrum. At any given year in our history, social media marketing management, amplifying those stories through social media has been anywhere from 50 to 75% of our revenue, but we do it all. And in today's age of social media with video and creative and skills and PR needed and design, I mean, we are truly integrated. And we work with all kinds of companies that, want to work with a bigger agency, but maybe can't for some reason because of budgets or process or other obstacles, but they need more than what they have now. So we bring them a nice little package in the middle to be part of their teams and help them tell their stories. And we're finishing up our 17th year in business now. So pretty proud about that.
That's amazing. Congratulations. That's a track record, Ben. Congratulations.
Thank you. Just got to keep it going. That's my mantra. Keep it going.
That's a life lesson right there.
I like the way George frames this as you need a bigger agency. You'd love to pay for a bigger agency, but you don't have money for a bigger agency. We're your solution. We're a bigger agency that doesn't cost as much as the bigger agency. And I do this all the time, right? I do business consulting in the HR space. And I say, when you need Accenture, but you can only afford me, I'm the guy.
Right. And you know what? It's also more than just cost too, because listen, I love big agencies. I've worked at bigger agencies. I partner with some bigger agencies, but in addition to costs and the things they have to cover, there's a lot of other process and obstacles and politics that sometimes those agencies don't integrate themselves well into bigger corporate structures or startup environments, especially. And we like to feel like we're able to fit right in and be part of those teams. And that's our mentality, to be that agency that you don't have to worry about.
Is that why was that the impetus for venturing out on your own?
Yeah, that definitely was. I mean, I had previous to starting Tell Your Story, I was at an agency called Gyro. That's now part of Merkle and the Dentsu system of agencies. But before that, when I helped Gyro, which was then called HSR Business to Business, start their Chicago office, it was just me and a few interns. And then there was headquarters in Cincinnati that had about 100 people there. And they trusted me. I trusted them. And we grew it to about 25 people in 5 years. And then they caught the eye of a investor-backed group that wanted to merge some agencies, and it was getting bigger. They bought a Denver agency, merged it with a European agency, and it became this bigger agency. And I just had a lot of fun when it was just me building with the help of some great clients and support at our headquarters. And before that, I had a couple corporate gigs at Baxter Healthcare. I was in corporate communications. I was at Arthur Andersen when it existed the first time in their firm-wide marketing. So I took all those experiences, big corporate agency that became part of a bigger holding company, and said, I want to be in an environment where I can be a little more flexible and nimble and hopefully have more fun doing doing this job of marketing communications. So yeah, those experiences definitely led to say, hey, let's create a smaller, more nimble, flexible place where I could go to work every day.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah. So as you think back to when you started, right? You started out on your own. You don't know what you don't know. So if you had to go back and do it all over again, is there anything that you would do differently?
Wow. Well, we did start in the 08 recession. What did they call that recession? They called it something. There was
I think the Great Recession.
A Great Recession. So that's when I said, hey, I'm leaving in the middle of 08. And, I had a little runway till the end of 08. And then January 1st, 2009, I started the agency. So looking back, maybe I shouldn't have started in a period of time they now call the Great Recession. But I don't regret it because I was able to get on my feet pretty quickly and make things happen.
Yeah.
So was that the housing bust? It's not
Yes.
the Great Recession. That's the housing bust.
No, that was the Great Recession, right? 2008, 2009. They called that the Great Recession.
They do call
wasn't
it that. You're right.
A little
And I happened to buy a house in that time period too. So that was interesting.
I had to sell a house in that time period.
Yeah.
And started an agency also myself at that time. And it was interesting.
So was it a mistake or not? I don't know. I don't regret it. I mean, if I didn't do it then and had the early success and fought through that, then I wouldn't have this great story to tell that I started in my own business during the Great Recession. So that's a little badge of honor now.
There's never a perfect time, right?
Right. No, I don't think so. I had a discussion recently with someone who's had several corporate jobs, both big and startups and VC backed. And he's looking to do some consulting now, but he was just used to the corporate paycheck. And he's ready to be an entrepreneur, do some consulting, maybe be a part-time CMO. And that was one of my messages to him. It's just, let's just do it. Roll up your sleeves. You can do this. But sometimes you feel like it's not the right time or maybe deeper, oh man, I don't know if I could do this because I've relied on it for so long, but you won't know until you try. But it's not for everyone.
No, that's for sure. And look, I think that in times of economic uncertainty, right, I think there's actually an opportunity, right, for smaller players, right? Because you still need marketing, you still need awareness, you still need to reach your customers and your prospects, and you still need to do those things. And
right.
Your budgets may just be tighter, and so that's an opportunity for a startup or a new player or a small firm to come in and do it in an economical manner. And and if you've not done it before, you're right, it's not for everybody. It's hard. I mean, it is. It's really hard to start a company or start a business. And if you're used to that paycheck, that corporate paycheck, it's, you need to, it's so important to be mentally ready to not have that and be ready and have the tools and resources to deal with the uncertainty, right? Because, building and growing a business, there's always a high level of uncertainty going on. And, you don't have that if you're in a corporate gig. You have that in a different way, but it's, you're right. I mean, you've got to get yourself organized to deal with those things.
Right. And the fourth quarter for me and probably a lot of entrepreneurs, especially in the service sector, Q4 is that time of uncertainty. It's like, all right, going to the holidays here. I'm renewing scopes of work. I'm trying to think what budgets are for next year. And you just got to be used to that. Early on, I used to tell my wife, hey, it looks like I don't have to get a job in January. And she'd chuckle and not really understand what I meant. But it was, we've got some revenue coming in and we'll be okay throughout the year. I don't have that discussion as much anymore there. I used to also say worst case scenario is, hey, we move back to Youngstown, Ohio, live with my mom. And again, that was a chuckle from her. But no, if you understand what the worst case scenario is and it's not going to kill you, I say, roll with it, take those risks.
Have you achieved success? Do you consider yourself and the company a success at this point?
Yeah, I mean, if you're in business for 17 years, I think that shows success right there. I think there's different aspects of success. I am very proud of being able to stay in that house I bought on the cul-de-sac since 2006. That's a level of personal success. And 90% of the time I've been in that house, I've had to tell your story. So from that aspect, being around that long and personally providing for me and my family that long, it's a huge success. Should I be a bigger agency right now? Should I be, 4 times my billing? Should I have a few partners to help push me and do things differently? I look back and think, well, I'm not really that successful at those things, right? But then I think to myself, well, do I really want to be an agency that's 4 times as big? Do I want to have all these partners? Because that comes with headaches and obstacles. So overall, yeah, I'd consider what I've done a success. But there are things that I think maybe not as successful in, but I still have time here to do those things if I choose.
I call that scaling for scale's sake, right? And you don't have to. I mean, if you're happy and successful, everyone wants to push you to scale. Why? Do you want to scale? Do you want to get bigger?
Yeah,
doing pretty good right now. Everything's fine. Leave me alone.
Yeah, I'm feeling good. Now I will have 2 tuitions next year. Mm-hmm. So that'll be interesting. And then it looks like the second one wants to go out west too, to a big school. So, I still, again, got to keep this thing going. So, but yeah, so I want to make money. I'm an entrepreneur. But I also, as part of being an entrepreneur, I love the wealth I feel because I'm flexible and able to do other things. I don't think my old boss at Baxter Healthcare would be too happy if I said, "Oh, it's I'm hosting karaoke night tonight at Pit and Tap, and I'm going to bartend a few hours before that, so I have to leave at 4." Yeah, she wouldn't have been too happy about that, but I can do that. I could just rearrange a few things and go do that because I'm an investor at a little restaurant down the street. So I'm able to do that. I'm able to start a co-working LLC that merged with where you see right now. We're within a co-working space called Enclave, and I started one in my little community that merged with this one. So wouldn't be able to do that thing if you had a full-time job. So I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah.
That gives me a lot of currency, I guess.
Sure.
Personal.
Agency and currency. Yeah.
Agency and currency. That's what this episode should be called.
All right. There you go. Title it.
I think being flexible like that is one of the things that allows for longevity in a business. Right? Because you can flex and pivot and do your own thing. Like you can just relax sometimes during tough times and say, all right, I know I need to be filling my pipeline. I'll do that. But do I have to really scramble? No, because I've had the flexibility to kind of set up this whole thing to persevere through tough times.
Yeah. Yes. And I'll also say that, if you look at the Rafeedie revenue pie, tell your story is definitely the biggest part of that. And the other things I do are fun and make a little money, but they fill my fulfillment pie. Those things help me be completely fulfilled. So it's fun, and it also does bring other opportunities to tell your story. So if I wasn't involved, I mean, literally, I met the CMO of a Fortune 500 company when I was bartending once, on a Sunday watching football. Hasn't turned into anything, but it could be a good story one day. So that's why I have these side hustles. You never know; it may lead. One, it fulfills me. 2, it could lead to some business.
Yeah, I think side hustles, right? I mean, I think that they gained a lot of popularity, a lot of traction, over the past 6, 7, 8 years for a number of different reasons. But I think to your point, it doesn't always have to be commercial, right? And I think in a lot of instances, if it's passion based, right, an outlet to relieve stress or to fill your bucket or to keep you grounded or centered. I think that is really important.
Yeah. No, it is. I like that. Your bucket. That's what I should have used instead of fulfillment pie. That seemed strange.
Now I'm hungry.
Subtitle. this episode.
So if you were, George, if you were to advise then a young person who's wanting to get out there and start their own thing, whether that's an agency or doing anything else, you know, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I mean, go get some experience first. Go learn from some people. Everything that led to me starting to tell your story, I wouldn't have been able to accomplish it if I didn't have all those experiences. From grad school, being part of the Public Relations Student Society of America, and the people I've met there that I actually work with today, believe it or not, because I keep my networks going, to my first couple jobs at a PR-only traditional agency, to go to a B2B agency, to go to grad school, getting that corporate experience, even though my corporate experience only lasted, or it was only about 5 years of my 30 years in the industry. That was some real valuable experience. And then being in an agency that grew to be part of a holding company, I have credibility and knowledge and experience in all of those things that cover a lot of aspects of running an agency and being able to find prospects, pitch, win business. So whatever you're going into, whether you want to open a restaurant or you want to start a manufacturing company, or go get some experience first, meet some people, roll up your sleeves, do the work. And then the next piece of advice is, when you see that opportunity after whatever it is, 5 years, 10 years, whatever that is, just make a commitment to it and do it. Get yourself an LLC or an S Corp. Buy that URL. It's very easy to do those things. And psychologically, it's fun when you see that documentation. It's like, oh, I'm legitimate now. Get your federal EIN number or whatever that is. And then go for it. But get the experience first.
I want to go back to something you just said about networking. And I know networking is a passion of yours. And I think some people could think of networking as uncomfortable or, schmoozy, or call it what you will. But I think it's something different. And, I see Craig do this really well. I see you do it. Can you talk a little bit about, what is the secret to making it feel genuine rather than transactional? And why is it so important to maintain and nourish, a network?
Yeah, that is networking has been a huge part of everything I've done ever since undergrad, and going to my first meeting of the Public Relations Student Society of America. Just, oh, okay, wow, that guy does that. I got that one, and it gave me it inspired me to do more early on. And I said, wow, this is important. I'm going to keep doing these things. And I was good at it early on. You always, you have to go into it not wanting to get something out of it all the time. Meaning that cannot be your first aim. I'm going to go in here, I'm going to meet someone, and it's going to turn into business. You can't have that mentality that networking event or experience was a waste of time if that doesn't happen. And so I've learned over time that you never know when those connections are going to happen. And a lot of times they happen over time. So you have to be consistent with what you go to, how you show up, who you are. And just be able to go in there and talk to people, be curious. People love curious people. And don't talk about yourself all the time. And not a lot of people are comfortable. They get very nervous. I mean, someone told me recently, I don't know how you do this all the time. I am never, ever going to a networking event with you. I go, now this is someone who's been at a big consulting firm that we all know for 30 years and probably doesn't need to network, but I hope she never needs to network. But to her, it was the most scary thing that you could ever tell her, that, hey, you're coming to a networking event with me. And And so I enjoy it. I like meeting new people. I like the challenge of maybe uncovering opportunities also. And then I love the, when I'm able to give, I love that just as much as the opportunity there may be for people to give me value.
Yeah. Craig, you're good at this. You're a great networker. What are your secret sauce?
Well, George said it really, really well. You never go into a relationship expecting something specific out of it, right? People will come back to you years later after you've said something interesting to them that might have resonated. And we call it in our space, because I'm in the hiring and employment space, right? We call it recruiter karma. And you're always doing the right thing and helping other people. And I've got a formula for it. It's the 5-to-1 give to ask ratio, right? So you wouldn't just go online or go into a conversation with someone asking for things all the time, right? You want to give first. It's the 80-20 principle for relationships.
Right. I like that a lot. And there's a sense of fulfillment when you are able to help people. That's ultimately karma. It'll help you eventually in a more meaningful way.
That's right.
It is real. You're right. It is real. And George, to your point about, it can be scary. And, I think that it's one of those things that it takes practice. And it takes practice in terms of just, putting yourself out there, walking up. Because the thing to think about is, people are there and probably feeling the same anxiety you are.
Yeah.
And,
right.
And if you walk up and introduce yourself, start a conversation, what are they going to do? Right? They're probably wanting to have do the same thing, but maybe they were intimidated to initiate it, right? You're all in the same boat, and just walking up, starting a conversation, they're not going to look at you and be like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah,
right?
right.
Never has that happened to me. Well, not in a professional context, but
yeah.
But they're there for the same thing, and the more that you exercise that muscle, right, the more natural it becomes.
Right. And this year, actually, it was one of my New Year's resolutions was to get back out there in a bigger way this year in terms of networking. So I ended up going to 2 major marketing conferences, one in Austin, the Industrial Marketing Summit, which was fantastic. I would look that up if anyone's interested. They have it every February or March in Austin, Texas. And then I just got back from the Marketing AI Institute conference in Cleveland. I was there last week. And there's a funny story. I was with someone, good friend of mine, a partner of mine, who hadn't been to a conference, especially a marketing conference, for 20 years. And they said that, I go, wow, this is probably my 108th, marketing conference that I've been to, because I was big with Business Marketing Association, the ANA, all kinds, content marketing world. And he's an entrepreneur looking to grow his consultancy, and he was on it. He was like at the breakfast at 7 a.m. He was doing the networking. He did not miss a session. And I rolled in when I rolled in. And he was like, "Oh, did you see that keynote?" I go, I'm going to look at the notes. I'm going to put it through my AI tool to get the summary. But he was inspiring to me because he was someone who really leveraged the investment and the time for learning and networking and meeting, where I stepped up my game on day 2. I'm like, all right, it's a good reminder, because you could get, I don't know, a little jaded, a little, we'll see when I get out of this, but sometimes you need reminders like that to say, all right, take advantage of this. And it was a great conference. I learned a lot, met a lot of good people, and it was definitely valuable. So
it's great.
That sounds like a fun conference, actually.
It was great. It's put on, I think it's in its 4th year, And funny enough, not funny. It's in Cleveland, Ohio, which I'm from Northeast Ohio, but the founders from there. And then for, I don't know, 8 years in a row, Content Marketing World was out of Cleveland because the founder was there. Then that got purchased, and now it's in San Diego and other places. But I just love going back because I've got relatives there. It was really well done. I went in there saying, okay, I love AI, bring it on, let's learn. And then, you have times within a conference where, you get really excited. And then other times, especially when you're talking about evolving technology, where you're scared, like, oh my God, am I doing enough? But I walked out of there with the idea that, hey, these are just all these great tools, especially from a marketing perspective, and talking to all the sponsors and the booths. It's amazing what we're in now and what we're headed toward and the opportunities we have. So I left being very excited, and it was a fun thing. And I took part in another Stein holding contest at the Hofbrau House on the east side of Cleveland. I came in 5th place. I was a little upset by that showing. 3.5 minutes, not bad.
So I heard the word another. Is this a thing with you, the Stein holding contest?
You don't follow me? You don't follow me on the Insta? So my wife, who's not here, I kicked her out of the office. She has won 3 Stein holding contests in a row. 2,
Wait, you lost to her?
No. Well, they separated the male and female.
Oh.
I probably can beat her by about 30 seconds, I'd say. I don't know. She may debate that. But the 2 that she won a couple years ago was at a great brewery my buddy owns called Cruz Blanca Brewery in the West Loop of Chicago, Taqueria also. And then we did that 2 years in a row. Karen won both. And then I came in, again, 5th place, like 15 people start. And but then we decided to go to a suburban brewery in Skokie and Evanston called Sketchbook. And we looked at the competition, and then they integrated everyone, but there was going to be a male and a female winner. And we both won. We both won our divisions.
Wow. Cool.
So that was great. And then when I followed that up with this trip to Cleveland, I was going in pretty confident, but this guy beat me by like 1.5 minutes. It was crazy. I'll send photos if you want to see.
Yeah, please do. We need to post that on the show notes, JD. So what?
Absolutely.
I'm curious. Sorry, is it like, are you just holding it out like this straight?
Yeah, you're holding it out like there's rules. Do I have a Stein here? No. You can't use your thumb. You can't put your thumb on top. You gotta fold it under. And it's one of those big ones. I don't even know what it is. 40 ounces. So it's a big one. And everyone has to be at a certain line level.
Wow.
You got to stand up straight. It's all in the core, Patrick. It's all in the core.
I'm going to practice.
You can't bend your elbow. You can't lean back, and you can't use your thumb. And those are the rules. And then you're right there. And what's interesting is that, if you're sensing that you're feeling a little weak, just wait another 10 seconds, because chances are someone in the group is going to start shaking. And then when they start shaking, you got to just find that inner strength and keep it there. So it's fun. My wife's better at it than me, but
I'd like to see the workouts. I'd like to see the practice and workouts for that.
Dumbbells. Push
I just followed you on Instagram, so I'm in.
I did just get some new photos. I'll send them to you, JD. I'll send you the
awesome.
The video.
Thank you.
Yeah,
perfect.
And then in Sketchbook, a guy from what's his name? Does the name Mike Armentrout mean anything to you guys? Yeah. Breaking Bad. He walks in. He walks in with his family. So I got photos with Mike. I forget
Really?
I forget what his real name is, but he was there. It was
Armentrout.
Yeah, exactly.
Armentrout. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll send those photos too.
So George, what's the secret to working with your spouse? And, how do you create separation between the personal and professional? And what do you do when you're in the doghouse?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, let me take a step back and say my secret so far in marriage is two words: advanced notice. You got to give advance notice on things, right? So that's number one. Number two, well, first, let me give a shout out to Karen, who's not here. She's on an entrepreneurial journey herself. She was a creative director at an agency for 18 years and is pursuing a career in children's book writing, but she's also a freelance creative director and writer. So she's on this great entrepreneurial path. And it was great when 8 years ago, when we started talking about this, or maybe it was 9 years ago, we were in a position to be able to have her do that. And it's been great for a lot of things, including Tell Your Story, because she brings that capability in-house. And she's happy trying to pursue publishing her own work. So the trick, so advanced notice, that's number one in life and in work. Two, kind of we know each other's domain, like domains, like where, like what, like she's a creative. I'm creative, I think, but I'm not a creative. I'm not a writer. And, people at big creative agencies know what that means. And as she does it, she's not on the business side of things, but she's also very strategic. And so it's knowing each other's skill sets if you're going to be working together and agreeing who does what. I know that if I give her too much work on the marketing advertising side, she loves the work, but she gets nervous because she's not working on her publishing. And so it's that's one key, is to try to keep that balance. It gets out of whack a lot when we're busy or not busy. But that's another thing that I think is a secret, knowing what the balance is. I gave her a heads up that I was doing this, so she's not coming back for lunch for another 5 minutes or so. So another.
So talk fast, man. Talk fast.
Yeah, that goes back to the advanced notice and just respecting each other's skills and abilities, and hopefully finding some success together.
That's great. Well, George, thank you for. I want to make sure that we wrap this up so you don't get in trouble when she comes back and she's in the office.
I'll just tell her to stop.
Hey, thanks for joining us. So much success. Congratulations on 17 years and counting.
Thank you.
And you have a great story. I love what you guys do. If people wanted to learn more about you and the company, how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, our main website is tellyourstoryinc.com, INC, tellyourstoryinc.com. And it's a robust, content-rich site that I hope will answer a lot of questions. Has a little AI bot on there, so you could ask it some questions if you want.
It's got all the things.
And then we're pretty active on LinkedIn, so please follow us on LinkedIn. I think it's LinkedIn.com/tellyourstory, maybe. And then we've got all the social channels. So we try to be pretty consistent. As an agency, sometimes it's hard to do the things that you consult on, but I think we're doing a pretty good job at it. And then, connect with me on LinkedIn, Rafeedie, /G Rafeedie on LinkedIn. So we'd love to make connections and talk shop or talk hoisting. I call it Stein hoisting. And yeah, so I thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks, George. George Rafeedie, ladies and gentlemen. 17 years, that is a success. And I love that he's doing it on his own terms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I appreciate his response to the success and the scale questions. He's a guy who likes what he's doing, right? And he's happy with it. And I love that. I mean, I 100% understand.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the point about filling your bucket, right, with things that you're passionate about,
That's right.
it's so easy. When you're starting a company and you're just in startup mode, you're running, or if you've been doing, your mid-career, late career, I think it's so important, right, to find those things that, that energize you and refresh you and kind of keep you engaged. Otherwise, you just burn out.
That's right.
And, I may have found a new passion, Stein hoisting. I don't know.
I'm
check it out.
Going to try it.
All right. Well, with that, this was good. Such a great conversation.
Thanks, guys.
This episode is brought to you by TalentNet and Mahalo Hub. TalentNet Media empowers businesses with innovative strategies in talent acquisition operations, recruitment marketing, and employer branding. Join us to stay ahead in the evolving hiring and HR technology landscape at talentnetmedia.com. For marketers looking to amplify their marketing campaigns with high-impact video content, Mahalo Hub simplifies your workflow with its powerful, flexible, and scalable platform. Savvy marketers know that Mahalo Hub makes their lives easier, and budgets go further by letting them invite, capture, edit, and distribute authentic video content seamlessly across all digital channels, all from one intuitive dashboard. Check Mahalo Hub out at www.mahalohub.com. That is MAHALOHUB.com.